to talk about imposter syndrome today. Um, I've been experiencing imposter syndrome for most of my adult life. It's not something I really knew about until I was in my mid-30s. And it's something that has affected my work life and my personal life. And in terms of my work life, it's been a lot of I'm not good enough to go for that role. Here's a good opportunity to take something on, but it's obvious I won't be good enough to actually complete it, and I'll just end up looking like a fool and things like that. And then in my personal life, it's a lot of I'd be at a party or a social gathering or something like that, and you'd be going, "You're not supposed to be here. You shouldn't be here. You're not friends with these people. Nobody likes you. They're just being polite to you because they feel sorry for you," or something like that. It's yeah, and before I realized what it was, it got quite bad. It was really tough to deal with just this feeling that I shouldn't be anywhere, and it was really hard. I was finding it tough. I wrote it down one time, and I was finding it tough to be a human, which sounds really silly, but it was like I was sat there. I'm just terrible. I was just terrible at being a human being, which is like I couldn't do anything right. I was getting by on more luck than anything, and things like that. And yeah, that was getting tough to deal with at one point. But I started figuring it out, and I heard on I think a podcast or something anyway about imposter syndrome. It was something like the imposter syndrome is real, and my ears pricked up, and I was like, "What's that?" So I looked it up, started doing some research, and it was a bit because that like fitted just about everything that I was dealing with. Yeah, so it was a bit of a revelation when I figured out what I was dealing with and how I was doing it. So yeah, it was good to find out, but yeah, I don't. A lot of the common triggers are just either like social gatherings or opportunities that I'm interested in, and I'll be like interested in them, or I'll be at the party, and then all of a sudden I'll just go, "You shouldn't be here. You shouldn't be doing this." Or in the case of an opportunity, it'll be like I'll be thinking through it, and then I'll get so far into thinking through it and how good it'd be for me, or something like that, and I should go, "Oh, but you'll mess it up, or someone will find out that you don't have the skills. You don't have the exact right skills that it says. It doesn't matter about experience or anything like that. You don't have exactly what it says in this thing, so you can't possibly do that." And it led to me not pushing myself, not trying to find new ways of doing something, or missing out on social experiences, because I didn't want to feel that way. It is what I have found over the last few years, especially, is that it has become something that people are a lot more willing to talk about. When I started talking about it, I did get a lot of, oh, shut up, it's just attention seeking, or something like that. And people rolling their eyes saying imposter syndrome's not a thing and stuff like that. And that was tough to hear from your friends and family. It was, but there was a lack of understanding as to what imposter syndrome was, and I do see that it is a lot easier to talk about, and a lot more people know what imposter syndrome is, and has maybe experienced it in a slight way themselves, maybe not the full-on syndrome, but like a lot of people have had one or two moments that are very close to what sufferers deal with on a regular basis. So yeah, I do think it's got easier to talk about. I still think there's a lot of misunderstanding, and there's a lot of people just saying it's attention seeking, and people just saying it's made up, it's not a thing. But it's getting there. It is. In order to help alleviate it for me, sometimes it is a case of it just works better to not do the thing, which probably sounds like a bit of a coward's way out sort of thing, but it's really not. It is something that's that does help, and it depends on the thing, and it could be something that you want to do, but it'd just be a slightly fun thing, and it's not going to super impact your life. So if you're getting anxiety about it, what's the point? That's just what's worked for me in that instance. But a lot of it, the big thing that's helped me out is knowing what it is, knowing what imposter syndrome is, and knowing that it's this, trying to remember the fact that the simple fact of the matter is, if people didn't want you there, they wouldn't have invited you, or you wouldn't be doing that job if someone didn't have faith that you could do it. And it's trying to remember that, because that is the case. Like in social gatherings, if people don't want you there, you simply won't get invited. That's the thing. So if you're there and someone is invited you, you have to remember that people actually do want you to be there. So that has helped a lot with me, and same for the job. Like I say, it's a case of you wouldn't have been entrusted with that job if someone didn't think you could do it. And it's remembering that someone somewhere has faith in it, and trying to remember that not to do a good job for someone else, but to do a good job for you, and then I'll give you a good feeling. I find that really helps. If anybody wants to support anyone who's suffering from imposter syndrome, my biggest advice is don't marginalize it, don't minimize it. It is a thing. It can be crippling. I went on holiday before I had kids with my wife, her sister, her husband, and their friend and his wife. There were 6 of us, and just one day I just went really quiet. I just didn't really talk to anyone. I said the bare minimum, did the bare minimum, tried to spend as much time as I was by myself, because in my head, that was I was intruding on their holiday. I didn't want to do it, and it was a lot of, what you doing this for? Why are you being so silly? Stop being an idiot. And you're just making something up, and it was imposter syndrome, and yeah, I did that, and this was before I knew really what imposter syndrome was and how it could affect me. And it was minimized to me just being weird or something else. And in fact, I think it was put down, clearly you've got depression at the time. And I'm like, no, that's not right. Yeah, and it was marginalized down to something else. And if you want to support someone who has imposter syndrome, don't do that. Understand that it could be imposter syndrome. Talk to them. If they don't know what imposter syndrome is, get them to look it up. Educate them. Educate yourself. It is real. Don't be saying it's not. And just be there. But like, I found that when I have a really bad attack of it, I just feel like I'm intruding on everyone. So I don't want to be around them. So if you get someone who's that bad, just leave them be. They'll sort themselves out. Just keep asking. I found that if you ask if they're all right and they say, yeah, I'm fine, just let them be for a day and they seem to be all right. That's what worked for me, though. I'm not saying that will work for everyone. So yeah, it's a tough one to deal with on a regular basis. I personally think I've got a lot better over the years dealing with it and realizing what it is and how to deal with it. So yeah, that is my take on imposter syndrome. So thank you so much, and see you later.